Morning, Madam Chair. We have two testifiers this morning.
Okay, thank you. You can bring them forward, and I'll get to you next. And Waimea, do you have testifiers?
Good morning, Chair. We do not have any testifiers this morning.
Okay, thank you. And Pahoa?
Good morning, Madam Chair. This morning we have one testifier for you.
Thank you. And Ka'u is offline today due to a conflicting schedule. So, Laura, would you like to go first? And you have 3 minutes. You can kind of see a light by the clerk, and when you see it yellow, that means you have 30 seconds remaining.
Good morning, Chair Yoshimoto, members of the Council. Thank you for having the opportunity to testify this morning. I'm here to testify in support of Resolution 112-13, and this is a resolution to honor one of past People Advocacy for Trails Hawaii founders, Tony Blair, who was instrumental in creating our only truly shared use path on the island. It's the Walua Road Trail, commonly called the Walua Road Trail. We're hoping to get the Council's support in honoring Tony by naming it the Tony Fortin Blair Memorial, Old Walua Road Bicycle and Pedestrian Scenic Route. And I urge you all to please support this effort. It's part of a larger effort to really malama the whole Walua Road trail area and to create better signage, etiquette, and an effort to really celebrate this treasure in our community and hopefully to stimulate more of these types of facilities for the community around the island. So please support Resolution 112-13. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Henry Kelly here too? Okay. Then, Hilo, can you please introduce your first testifier?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first testifier is Corey Harden. She is here to comment on Resolution 122.
Good morning. Commenting on Resolution 122 regarding homelessness, Corey Harden speaking for myself. I'd like to thank Drew Kanuha for introducing this resolution. However, I'm a bit concerned about the tone of it. So please consider changing the last whereas that talks about how homeless people make shoppers uncomfortable merely by their presence. And in my written testimony, I suggested some different language. And for the be it resolved, please consider adding to relieve the plight of homeless citizens. It's not just about businesses and others. I hope this resolution will not lead to efforts to criminalize homelessness. Criminalization, as you know, happens when people are ticketed or arrested for the things they have to do because they're homeless, like sit on the sidewalk or sleep in a car or leave their bags on a sidewalk while they're using the restroom. People on probation might be required to leave a certain city, or littering and loitering laws might be aggressively enforced. Honolulu has closed parks at night, banned enclosed tents and shopping carts in parks, and confiscated personal possessions. So Honolulu ended up being named the number 8 meanest city in the United States 4 years ago as far as criminalizing homeless people by the National Law Center on Homelessness and Poverty. 85% of chronic homeless people have mental illness, 59% have substance abuse problems, and criminalizing isn't going to help that. As you know, there's extensive and ongoing efforts to reduce homelessness by national, state, and local entities, public and private. Hawaii's efforts include a state plan and the Hawaii Interagency Council on Homelessness. This is all to address a very complex problem that Civil Beat says involves government, business, public health, public safety, civil liberties, and social justice. So I hope any proposal from the mayor will take this complexity into account, also build on the many ongoing efforts, and I hope we'll find compassionate and effective ways to reduce homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. Hilo, do you want to introduce your next testifier, please?
Our next testifier is Hope Sermel, and she is here to speak in opposition of Resolution 122-13.
Mayor of this fine, wonderful Big Island. three things I'd like to mention. If I am out of line on anything that I've spoke of, please forgive me. Lord, forgive me, because I came in here from Kalapana to really speak out. Resolution 122-13 states, requests a representative from the mayor's office to apprise the council on potential strategies to address chronic homelessness within 45 days after adoption of this resolution. These people are houseless, not homeless. Big Island's their home. Some people in Puna district choose to be that way. They do have the chronic issues that the previous testifier stated of, but there's nowhere for them to get a house. They're houseless. The Catholic Church is trying to do something on their property, but I believe those homes are going to go for the senior citizens that really need the help. Bill number 86. Bear with me. 86 deals with, where are you? Bus fares. So many people take the bus. I am fortunate enough to have my vehicle to go around, but soon I won't be able to pay for bus fares, or let alone pay for the new, hopefully it's not stated in the budget, change from $5 to $12, and the other issue of registration weight tax from $5 to $12. Couldn't we see a middle part there, council people and Mayor Billy Canoy? Couldn't we think about a $7 or an $8 raise instead of, ironically, having to catch up with Kauai? This is the Big Island, the cheap island. The people here don't have the kind of money that are 9-to-5 working folks, or folks that are living on minimum wage, to pay for those new huge hikes in registration fees to the county of Hawaii. Isn't there somewhere else? Maybe. No disrespect, Mr. Mayor. You shouldn't get your raise and help people pay for their cars so they can still get back and forth to work or to public services like the hospital or doctor's appointments. It's really, really, really important. Number 3, I wrote a letter to our mayor stating that the GMO information that has come down from other countries as well as America 2 weeks ago already had a huge protest. Japan is not going to buy our wheat from America, or is Korea going to buy our wheat because of the GMO?
Excuse me, did you transition to a different item on the agenda?
Okay. Thank you, Billy, for taking my letter. We are here on the most beautiful, peaceful place on the planet. We need to take care of this Aina, the people. Houselessness is an issue that needs to be addressed right away. Thank you, and God bless Hawaii.
Okay, thank you. Pahoa, can you introduce your testifier, please?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Today we have Mr. John Olson, who will be speaking in support of Bill number 69 and Bill number 86, but he represents two different organizations today, so he'll speak on behalf of them. Go for it whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the council. I'm speaking to begin with for Puna Traffic Safety Committee. We're here to support Bill 69. Anything that reduces impaired driving, we're behind it. And the county taking more control of drinking in the parks is going to be a substantial improvement in that area. We know that from past experience that has been a place where a lot of the drinking emanates. So thank you for taking this on. The transit fare issue, again, it reduces the number of cars on the road, and that's the Puna Traffic Safety Committee's interest in this bill. We do hope that you will look at a fare structure that does not diminish the ridership of students and those with disabilities. So I think a review of that area, I think a means-tested pass system would be something that you could look at in that area. Moving on, moving back somewhat to Bill 86, the transit fare issue as far as the Poho Regional Town Center Planning Committee is concerned, again, is moving people around the Puna district, and particularly in and out of and through Puna, given our limited number of roads and the poor quality of the infrastructure for the number of lots that are available to be built on, is going to be an ever-increasing problem, and the expansion of the rapid transit system on this island, particularly in Puna, is very high on our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
At this time, I'd like to ask Debbie Baker and Tina Clothier to please come to the table. Debbie? Oh, can you hit the bar on the microphone, please?
Good morning. Thank you very much. Today I'm speaking on behalf of the Kailua Village Business Improvement District on Resolution 12213. Wanted to say that the county has done an excellent job at providing the emergency shelter and the transitional housing here in Kona. What we're seeing is a growing problem and growing population of what is termed chronic homeless in Kailua Village, and presently there are no shelters or support services for the chronically homeless. So we would urge support of Resolution 12213 to really begin to develop high-level strategies to address the issues surrounding chronic homelessness while the population is still small and manageable. So we urge support of that. On Bill 69, which is also on the agenda, as we testified at committee a week or so ago, we do support this as well. It does clarify some ambiguity in the existing law where we have bans on drinking in public parking lots, but some judges do not interpret that as extending to the stairs that lead to the county parking lot, so this bill will clarify that for them. And finally, I'd like to speak on behalf of myself on Resolution 11213. Toni Fortin was a friend of mine, dear friend of mine. She was a trailblazer and an athlete. I think this would be well-deserved, and it would point out how she raised awareness within the community for appreciation of the outdoors. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'd like to say good morning to Vice Chair Eoff, Council Chair Yoshimoto, Council Member Drew Kanuha, and distinguished council members. I also want to thank you for this opportunity to speak in support of Resolution 11213.
And state your name, too, for the record.
Oh, I'm so sorry. My name is Tina Clothier. I am the Executive Director of PATH Hawaii, People's Advocacy for Trails Hawaii. I'm here in support of Resolution 11213 regarding the renaming of Walua Trail. I want to thank you for your understanding of the importance of recognizing community members such as Tony Blair in their efforts to make the Big Island a healthier, safer place through active living facilities. I also want to thank you in advance for your foresight in acknowledging the importance of these facilities and encourage you to continue your support of the development of such. So today I'd like to again lend my support in encouraging you to pass Resolution 11213.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to call Cheryl King and I think it's Lenny Vermeer. I'm not sure if I'm reading that correctly.
Excuse me, Madam Chair. This is Hilo. We do have two additional testifiers.
Okay, I'll take them next.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't think I read your name correctly.
You did, Lenny
Oh,
Vermeer.
Lenny. Okay, you can go ahead, Lenny.
Okay. Thank you for this morning. My name is Lenny Vermeer, and I'm here to support Act 11213 for Tony Blair. Tony devoted most of her life to help improve the community. That was just foremost in her heart. And I think it would be a wonderful honor to change the name of the Walua Path to the Tony Fortin Blair. And I give my full support.
Thank you.
May I ask a question, Madam Chair? I'm going to testify in opposition to 3 items. The testimony for the first 2 is in essence the same. May I go slightly over my 3 minutes so I don't have to increase the time?
You just let us know when you're going to transition to the second item, and we'll start the...
Okay, well, if I can combine 2...
I know it's combined, but...
May I?
Yes.
Oh, okay, thank you. Hello, council members, and especially to you from the east side, thank you for making the trek to
Excuse me,
Kona.
just make sure you speak into the mic. You can move it a little bit closer.
Aloha, thank you for coming. I will be testifying against 3 resolutions. The first is Resolution 113-13. I'm against Resolution 113-13 because, to the best of my knowledge, it does not contain a clause prohibiting the UPW from inviting county workers to informational meetings on county time during which campaigning takes place. As reported in the August 1st issue of West Hawaii Today, this campaigning on county time did occur this past July. This was a violation of Section 2-83B3 of the County Ethics Code, which specifically forbids this practice. A petition was filed with the County Board of Ethics concerning this violation, but in its decision of November 19, 2012, the board dismissed the petition based on a state ruling that said it was legal and that county employees didn't know they were going to a campaign event. The board never openly discussed the fact that our county code, unlike that of the state, prohibited it. Only the Ethics Commission chair dissented, saying, "This board has no jurisdiction over union activities. However, county employees who are subject to the County Code of Ethics and our union workers must abide by the County Code of Ethics." Another commissioner commented that the county should negotiate with HPW and HGEA to bring them more in line with those of the police, SHOPCO, and firefighter union, HFFA, which prohibit campaigning. With the latter comment in mind, and having learned that HRS Chapter 89-6 gives the mayors, as the public employers of their respective counties, the power to negotiate supplemental agreements that apply to their employees, I spent several weeks trying to arrange an appointment with the mayor to request that he do this. On April 24th, I gave up and emailed him a letter, followed by a subsequent snail mail and a personally delivered copy at the Kona budget meeting. I asked him, as the employer of Hawaii County, to negotiate a supplemental agreement with the unions which would prohibit the release of county employees on county time to attend union campaign events. I never received a response from the mayor. I also discussed this issue with Wally Lau, managing director, who promised to get me an answer. After 2 weeks, I contacted him for a response and was told he had forwarded a copy of my letter to the mayor to Ron Takahashi, our HR director, who is the official negotiator, for his opinion. I would have been more reassured if it had been the mayor, as the employer of Hawaii County, who had acknowledged receipt of the letter and directed his HR director to work on a supplemental agreement prohibiting campaigning on county time at these union meetings. Those representing and negotiating for the county had to have been well aware of the recommendation by the Board of Ethics to include a no campaigning clause in the next contracts. I would have thought they would have been ashamed by the headline, "Union Contract Trumps County Code," and tried to do something about it. Will you? Please defer voting on this resolution until the mayor or his representative negotiates a supplemental agreement with the unions prohibiting campaigning on county time at these union meetings. And moving on next to resolutions. This resolution, for the same reasons stated in my testimony on Resolution 11313, because to the best of my knowledge, the contract does not contain a clause prohibiting the HGEA from inviting county workers to informational meetings on county time during which campaigning takes place. And last, speaking about Resolution 112-13, the renaming of Wallua Trail. After hearing all the testimony regarding this wonderful woman, I still have to give my testimony. And I personally am opposed to the renaming of the Wallua Trail, as we call it, and intend no disrespect to the memory of the deserving woman who helped establish it. I believe it would be more appropriate to honor her memory with a bronze plaque embedded at the beginning of the walk on Sunset and Wallua Road, and a mention of her efforts to establish the path. People would actually read this and remember her name and contribution. On the other hand, if the name is changed to an even longer one than we currently have, the trail will still be referred to by most people as the Wallua Trail. Just on general principles, I prefer to keep established names, especially names that include the location as they are. Let's build new trails, buildings, and roads to honor the memory of worthy individuals. I request that council members postpone voting on this resolution until the public has a chance to give their opinion. There has been absolutely no mention of this proposed renaming of the trail in the media, and I was unaware of it until I read the council agenda, which most people who use the Wallua Trail probably don't do. And so that's my opinion. I would appreciate it if you would defer this resolution until this matter can be publicized and get the opinion of the people who actually use the Wallua Trail. And perhaps PATH might want to stand there and get signatures or whatever, but I think people deserve to know about this, and right now only PATH and myself seem to. Thank you.
Thank you. Hilo, you have two more testifiers.
Thank you, Madam
aware.
Chair. Our next testifier is Carrie Marks, representing herself, here to speak in opposition of Resolution 122-13.
Good morning, Council. Yes, I am in opposition to Mr. Kanuha's homelessness resolution. My first job here on Hawaii Island was working homeless outreach. I worked for the Office for Social Ministry for the Caravan Program for 2 or 3 years. I did the homeless point-in-time count. I know exactly what you're talking about. What I oppose, everybody opposes homelessness, pretty much. It's not a situation anybody usually chooses to be in. And I think that the way that this resolution is written is pretty offensive. It really does come down to the last whereas clause, as Corey said. Whereas the county has received numerous complaints from businesses, locals, and tourists about a small contingent of homeless individuals congregating along Ali'i Drive in Kona, panhandling, intimidating shoppers, and making them uncomfortable merely by their presence. Come on. This has nothing to do with helping the downtrodden, houseless people of Hawaii Island. This has to do with protecting businesses against, people that make them feel uncomfortable. If they are panhandling, we have laws against that already, don't we? Let's enforce them. If they're making you uncomfortable by their mere presence, move away. The problem is not that they're homeless. The problem is that they're mentally ill or drug addicted, as it says in the whereas clauses before that to describe why people are homeless. Your resolution doesn't say anything about the family that works 40 hours a week at Walmart and still can't afford rent. This resolution doesn't deal with homelessness. This resolution deals with protecting businesses on Ali'i Drive. And for that reason, I oppose it in its entirety. Please withdraw it. Mahalo.
Our next testifier is Alan McNary, also representing himself to speak in opposition of Bill number 86.
You can go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yes, normally I'm sitting in the back writing stories about you instead of up here in front testifying. As many of you know, I've been a freelance writer on this island for 20 years, often doing investigative stories. I don't, that's not a lucrative profession. And as a result, I do use the bus. I use it regularly. I parked my car almost 2 years ago. It is a vital it's necessary for all of us, for a lot of us who have marginal incomes, and being a freelance writer is not a lucrative profession. I want to go. I've got basically two things to say here. First off is more general. You're running a whole batch of tax increases in various ways, and like I said, I've been covering you guys for 20 years. When you're paying tens of thousands of dollars for copiers, when a flash drive costs $15, when cops are riding around in sports cars and SUVs with county subsidies, when you're paying $400,000 for a restroom in a public park, when you can buy an entire house for less than that, it's tough. It's a hard sell to say that, oh, we've cut government to the bare bones and we've got to have all these these new taxes. It just doesn't go well with the public. Now, having said that in general, let me get down to the specific fee increase. Like I said, I've been riding the bus. I know how these things work. You're not raising the fee by $1. You're raising the fee by $1. To start off with, you're raising the fee by $1 each way. That adds up fast. Now, most people, when they ride the bus, they don't come in to do just one thing. You go into town, you go to the bank, you go to the grocery store, you run a batch of errands. You get on and off that bus several times sometimes. So this is going to add up even faster. It's not going to take too long before it would be cheaper to drive. I think if you're going to make if you're going to raise this, you need to also put in a subsidy. A day pass for $5, so that we can put a cap on this. And that's pretty much all I have to say. Thanks.
Thank you. I'm going to call Henry Kelly to the testifier table here in Kona. And are there any other testifiers in any of our other sites?
We have no more testifiers in Hilo.
Thank you. Pahoa?
There are no more testifiers in Pahoa, ma'am.
Okay. Waimea, don't see any.
We have no testifiers.
Okay, thank you. Then, Mr. Kelly, if you're ready, you can go ahead.
Hi, thank you. What I just heard repeated a couple of things. It's not $1 a raise, which is 200% compared to the percentage that you're raising the vehicle tax or the proposed vehicle taxes. It's like 800% compared to that. And for somebody like me, who's paying $0 because of my disability, I can't tell you the percentage increase it will be because you can't multiply by 0, but I can tell you that it would cost me about $70 a month, which is 10% of my income. Could any of you afford just all of a sudden having 10% of your income taken away? When Governor Abercrombie was elected, he cut something called chore services, somebody that would take you to the grocery store or the pharmacy or a doctor's appointment, and he cut that by 60% from 24 hours, a possible 24 hours a week, to $10 a week across the board. The same problem came up in my mind when I read about the vehicle tax increase across the board. The history of this country is a progressive tax system. If you're going to need to increase revenue, raise 0.1% on something that the wealthy, for instance, a vehicle that costs more than $50,000 or a home that costs more than $500,000. What really gets me is one of the councilmen said, well, I'm hoping that the increased revenue would allow us to add routes. He's got it backwards. There's going to be no increased revenue. Revenue is going to go down because people are going to stop riding. You created the bus service and started it with no fees to attract riders. Doesn't that common sense tell you that if you raise fees, you're going to lose riders, and worse, lose potential riders? People that are considering giving up driving because of their age or their disability are going to be more inclined not to give that up because the bus is no longer economically helpful. And the worst of that is people driving with revoked or suspended licenses, or people driving unsafe cars because they can't afford the maintenance to get a proper safety sticker. I mentioned yesterday, get the safety stickers that go on the inside of the driver's side window, and you won't have people stealing the safety stickers or people having to slice it with razors. Lastly, basically, my most important suggestion is look at the true cost. When there's an accident, perhaps from one of these unsafe vehicles like there was in Hele-On on Saturday, and the road is closed for 12 hours, I have the utmost respect for first responders, but the second and third responders and Hele-On and stuff should at least have been able to open up counterflow traffic, and it would have been a lot easier to get one bus with 50 workers to go through than 50 different cars of people trying to get work. So please consider, the poor just cannot afford another tax. I simply can't. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, seeing no other testifiers,
Madam
we'll
Chair,
move on. Oh,
this
yes?
is Hilo. We have 3 additional testifiers.
Okay.
Our next testifier is Jenny Chin, representing herself to speak in opposition of Bill number 86.
Can you... Testing?
Yeah, we can hear you.
What I see in the town of Hilo, which has an extensive bus system, is that it would be a very big hardship financially for those people who ride the bus to pay $1 or $2, especially the seniors who live on limited income, who cannot drive a car, obviously. The bus system is not the best, but everybody copes with it in the city of Hilo. And based on probably the largest thing is the fuel cost, but I see seniors getting on, and now I'm beginning to see wheelchairs getting on, and you want to start charging them money as if they don't have enough handicap and restrictions already. A person who lives on Social Security, the minimum they would bring home or have sent to their home is $500. As it is now, the bus system inside of Hilo does not even go past the low-income senior housing areas. As it is now, I see seniors who have to bring a bag of groceries on. They pay $1 for their bag. I see it continuously, and I see them trying to make their ends meet. And here you want to raise the fare onto the seniors. I see disabled people who are going to go and start paying money, and those people also live on limited incomes. Usually they are on Social Security or they are on something else, but those who have mental disabilities have to buy medications, and you're asking them now to pay $2 for a bus fare or $1 discounted. You have to realize one thing, it's like if you live in Hilo and you are dependent on the bus system, that means that we have to, if I want to run an errand and go, I have to go to Long's and pick up medication for some other person, or if I have to go to the supermarket, that means that every single time I get on that bus, it's $1, and then another $1, and then another $1. And then you could ask yourself, why don't you just buy the bus pass that you think that people should buy for $45? Because that $45 means a lot of income going out the door. If $45 means a lot to those seniors if they want to be able to ride and run their errands. The bus system provides a crucial link between a senior being able to stay in their home and being able to ride the bus. The bus route is not that extensive inside the city, but you must find a way to change it so that inside the city, when somebody needs to run an errand, an elderly person or disabled person wants to run an errand, they don't have to be dishing out $1 there, $1 back. That's $2. And if they have to go to 3 different places, that's $3 they gave, and maybe one more $1 to get back to their home. I don't think that the bus system, if you're looking for that kind of money, there's going to be less people riding the bus because of the bus fare hike. There's a lot of people right now who are riding the bus who would love to, who are up in arms over it, but they didn't come to voice their opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next testifier, Madam Chair, is David Mullis, representing himself to speak in opposition of Bill number 86.
Hello, my name is David Mullis. I am a veteran and I am disabled. Not necessarily in that order. However, I've been through a number of cities in the country, and I know that in order to raise revenue, they have raised bus prices a number of times at various cities. I'm in opposition to this because I think the hike is too high on those who are disabled, seniors, students. If you are going to do it, I think a more reasonable increase, if there was going to be an increase for those people, would be 50 cents. I know a number of cities I've lived in have not yet exceeded $1 or to $1 in their own cities. Minneapolis, Dallas, and those cities have frankly much more effective bus services for all, including the poor. And I understand the issues of insolvency, the issues of not making enough revenue to keep something going, but the bus service is, let's be realistic, subsidized to a certain degree. In the essence of what I would think would be reasonable, if they're going to increase to $2 on the average person, if I were an average person and not a disabled person, I would think that was a bit of a big jump. Just because there is a point at which, if you're going to do it, I mean, it's like the difference between going from $2 for a beverage to $4 for a beverage. Maybe you want to go $3. Maybe you want to think about the degree to which you are trying to raise revenue versus the negative response of riders who won't ride, as has been mentioned, but also of the riders who do ride, how that's going to affect their pocketbooks. I've done my own calculations for myself only, and based on how much I ride, if I was made to pay $1 per ride, and including the differences between place to place, this would affect me easily at a cost of about $800 a year. I think the quantity is punitive. I think if they're going to raise the rates, I would be more amenable to a 50-cent price for those who are disabled. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'm going to take another testifier here in Kona, and then I'll come back to you, Hilo, for your last testifier. Okay, Mr. Kelly, you wanted to testify on another item.
Yes, I'm testifying, again, my name's Henry Kelly. I'm testifying about Resolution 122-13 about addressing chronic homelessness in Hawaii. Well, I think we've already talked about the big one. Raise the bus fares, you're going to have more homeless. I can barely afford a place to live right now. Right now, I pay $6 out of my $700 to live under a house with a dirt floor and no shower. And that is the best I can find for the money. If it costs me $70 for the bus, I'm going to be homeless too. What I would suggest, the idea of studying this is a good idea. If the same people that came up with the proposal of raising the buses fees is in charge of it, I give up hope. But if you include homeless people or potential homeless people like me, you might be able to suggest something to the mayor's office about creating a council that includes people like me who are denied adult mental health services. And I can't count how many times I've been denied Section 8 housing because of waiting lists. And every time any expense raises to a disabled person or a senior on a fixed income, they are that much closer to homelessness. And if the United States can spend millions and millions of dollars on setting up refugee camps in third world countries, why can't we set up a temporary homeless shelter in Kona and Hawaii? Right now there's something called the LRC or something like that over in Hele. They have 8 beds for the entire island. You'd be better off setting up a bunch of Costco tents at the old airport for temporary housing of homeless people so they're not sleeping in doorways and urinating where they shouldn't be and causing good tax-paying people to have to complain, and I don't blame them. I wouldn't want somebody peeing on my door either. But addressing the homelessness is, again, you got to look at the true cost of any decision you make. And I can promise you one thing, that if you hire anybody, if you ask me, I'd be glad to help you for a week, and I could probably save you $1,000 just because I have common sense and a removed point of view, rather than somebody that's studying the issues and coming up with the same thing over and over and over again. Take more money from the poor. Take more money from the middle class and cause them to be poor. The rich have untold amounts of money and they only get richer every year. Go ahead and tax them a little for their luxuries, please. Thank you.
Thank you. I've been told that Hilo does not have any other testifiers, and if that's correct, and I don't see any other testifiers here, I'm going to close the statements from the public, and we'll move on to our agenda items.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.